Die Zeit ist nah. Ich weiß es. Habt keine Angst.
I think that when I discovered this character, when I discovered Anne Lee, and I discovered her story, I felt possessed to tell this story. I thought it was amazing that no one had told it before, and that she was so little known in America, and that she was almost becoming erased from history. So I felt that I just had to tell this story. It felt like an important part of American history that I wanted young men and young women to know about. I mean, it just is a feminist story because Anne Lee is perhaps one of the first American feminists fighting for equality between gender and race in the late 1700s. So that wasn't just a choice, that was just kind of what the story is. And it's a musical film because the Shakers worship through ecstatic dance and song. That's why it is a musical. Like, they would receive a gift song from above, that's what they would call it, and then they would start singing. Or they would break into song and dance and movement and maybe go on dancing and singing for sometimes days. So for me, this was the only way to tell the story. Amanda for me was just a no-brainer. I had worked with her before and I knew her really well. I just saw how she had the strength and the bravery and the incredible skill. She's a wonderful dramatic actress and she's an incredible singer and mover. So to me, I just saw her as the part right away, and I was lucky enough to have her trust me to go on this wild endeavor with me. I mean, hundreds of candles with so much is candlelit. Will Rexer, our cinematographer, and I, and Sam Bader, our production designer, we really talked a lot about religious paintings, Caravaggio, like the religious lighting, single source candle lights, primary colors, a lot of texture, a lot of grain. Those were sort of our big references working on the film. And also just in terms of the blocking and composition, like how many people can I cram into a shot that otherwise might have been a single, but actually making it a medium, but just filling it with all of the followers and the believers. That was something that I was really excited by. Yes, I always learn something new. Every time I'm privileged enough to get to make a movie, I learned so many new things that I wish I knew at the beginning of that process. It's almost like you always want to go and redo a film, want to start over. This was a really hard movie to make. The budget was very tight and it was so ambitious. We were on a tall ship in the middle of the ocean, crossing to America. It's just things that just are very difficult to do on an independent budget. It was very, very, very challenging, but also really rewarding. It is not impossible to create some grace, some peace, some beauty, even if it's just your little corner. I think it is possible. She was an illiterate, poor woman in a time where women were considered their husband's property, and she created the largest utopian society in American history. How incredible is that? Many things were difficult and not perfect about her experiment. But what I find really inspiring is that it was possible. Her thoughts were so radical and so progressive, and that was in the late 1700s. So at times now when things just feel so incredibly hopeless, you wonder, what can I do? It's nice to look at someone who did so much with so little.
Dies ist eine Legende. Die Legende von Anne Lee.